Your credit score is incredibly important. Not only does it affect your ability to qualify for credit cards, car loans, and mortgages, but it can affect other things like your auto insurance rates. But if your credit score is lower than you would like, you don't have to spend any money to raise it. I'm going to show you some free things you can do today to boost your credit score. Before we get started, let's quickly review what factors impact your credit score. And actually, I should say credit scores because there are actually two major companies that compute credit scores. You've probably heard of FICO, but VantageScore is the other big player. They're kind of like the Coke and Pepsi of the credit world. They both measure similar things, but they just calculate them a little bit differently. With both credit scores, the number one most important factor is payment history, making up to 35 to 40% of the score. Pay your debts on time every time. It's so important. The next big factor is the overall amount of credit you have and the types of credit you have. Ideally, you want a mix of types of credit like loans and credit cards. The third most important factor is your credit utilization. This is a calculation of the percentage of available credit you have on all of your credit cards and revolving credit lines and how much of that you're currently using. It's recommended that you keep this under 30%, but under 10% is even better. So if you have a credit card with a $10,000 limit, you want to keep your balance under $3,000 at all times, but keeping it under $1,000 would be even better to get that 10% utilization rate. Credit scores can factor in the credit utilization for each credit card and for all your credit cards combined. So if you have $20,000 total in credit available over several cards, you want to keep your total balances under $2,000 total if possible. Next is your history of credit, meaning how long have you had any credit accounts at all? This is a less important factor than the other ones, though. Finally, your recent credit activity can affect your score. This includes newly opened credit accounts and credit inquiries, where companies have been checking your credit. A lot of people stress about this factor, but it's actually a very small portion of your credit score. Unless you're going crazy applying for new credit constantly, this is not something that's going to make a big difference with your score. A lot of people are surprised about which things don't affect your credit score. Your income, your bank balance, or your investment portfolio have absolutely nothing to do with your credit score. It's only about how much credit you have, how long you've had credit, and how good you've been at paying off your credit. Okay, now that you understand what does and doesn't affect your credit score, let's talk about some free things you can do to help your credit score. The first thing you should do is pull a free credit report and read it thoroughly. Keep in mind that a credit report is a document that lists all the things about your credit. It generally does not include a score. You actually have 3 separate credit reports from 3 different credit companies. Those companies are TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. You can get a free credit report through the official federal website once per year for each credit company. I'd strongly advise using the official public site. If you go with some other site, odds are they're going to try to get you to sign up for an expensive credit monitoring or credit repair service. You can find the official site at www.annualcreditreport.com. You can download reports from 1, 2, or 3 of the credit bureaus for free. If you haven't checked them in a long time, it's not a bad idea to check all 3 since it's likely they'll have slightly different information. Some people like to pull just one at a time and then spread them out through the year just to keep an eye on things. Once you get your reports, you want to find all the negative marks, such as late payments. You also want to check for inaccuracies and dispute anything incorrect that you find. You can start a dispute right on the site of the credit company, and you can start a dispute directly with the company that reported the error as well. Make sure that you don't lie here though. The goal is to remove inaccurate things from your credit report, not to try to bend the truth. If you have late payments on your report that are accurate, you can also politely ask your credit company to remove them from your report. This often works well if you have an account that you've had late payments in the past, but you're now in good standing and you've had plenty of on-time payments. The credit company doesn't have to remove any negative remarks from your credit report, but if you're a good customer now, they're gonna wanna keep you happy. You can ask for this on the phone or by secure message in your online account for your credit card. You don't even have to talk to anyone to do this. If you can get them to remove late payments, this can make a really big difference in your credit score with only a few minutes of work from you. All right, the next thing you wanna do is check your credit score. As I mentioned before, there are 2 companies that calculate credit scores, FICO and VantageScore. There are a lot of places you can get a free credit score, and it may already be included as a service from your credit card company. VantageScore is the one that you'll see in almost all of the free credit score sites. Just be aware that if you do get a credit score when you apply for a mortgage, for example, example, that may be the FICO score, and the number will be different than what you've seen on these sites. To get a free credit score, I like to use CreditWise from Capital One because it is free for everyone, even if you're not a customer of them. Looking at your report from CreditWise will also give you a really good idea of which factors are lowering your score. I like that they also offer hypothetical simulations of what would happen if you change something, so you can run simulations to help you figure out what thing to do next to help your credit score. You can also get monthly updates to your score, and you can get email alerts from CreditWise when something changes with your credit report. The third thing you can do is get added as an authorized user to someone else's credit card. This can really help if you don't have much credit history of your own. When you're added to someone else's card, all their payments are recorded on your credit report. Some credit card companies will report payments from the day you're added going forward, and some will report every payment retroactively back to the opening of the card, even if it was opened 20 years ago. So you can see how getting added as an authorized user can help with the history of credit and a history of on-time payments on your report. But be careful about doing this though. Don't just get added to anyone's credit card. You want to choose someone who has good credit and who has a card with a long history of on-time payments. You want to make sure that the person is not carrying high balance, as this could also hurt your credit utilization score if they're maxing out the card. But getting added as an authorized user can be a great way to boost your credit score for free. Before we go on, I'd like to say that I'd love to hear below if you successfully used any of these strategies to raise your credit score. If you don't have anything to say about credit scores, please leave me a comment about anything at all, because it helps YouTube to know that this is useful content. Personally, I'd love to see you leave me a comment about cookies, because I just love cookies. Fourth thing you can do is pay down your credit cards. All right, I know I said that these would be free things you could do to help your credit, but if you do have money in savings that you could use to pay down your credit cards, it can really help if your utilization percentage is too high. So look at your cards and see if any of them are above 30% utilization and try to get them down if you can. All right, fifth thing you can do. If your credit card utilization is high and you can't afford to pay down your cards, you can actually help your utilization level by increasing your available credit. So you could either request that that card give you a credit increase, or you're going to apply for a new card and transfer some balances. The other upside to this is if you do a balance transfer, a lot of times you can get a 0% rate, and you may be able to save interest while you're paying these cards down. Of course, use a lot of caution with this strategy. If you have high credit card balances because you have a spending problem, this is not a good idea. But unfortunately, I've known a lot of people who have high balances because of things like medical bills or surviving a period of unemployment. If that's you and you're working on digging out, it can be a good strategy to increase your available credit to help your credit utilization percentage, which then helps your credit score. Increasing your credit limit or opening a new card will generally cause an inquiry on your credit report. But as I said before, those don't matter nearly as much as something like your credit utilization level. I hope this was helpful. Next up, check out this other great video that I know you're gonna love.